After such a long day, it's time for me to sit back and relax with one of my favorite books. Let's see, chapter 1? Ah! The Babadook, a horror movie about a mother and her 6-year-old son being stalked by a supernatural being called the Babadook. This movie is actually a pretty decent horror movie. It's got some really nice scares and a great build-up of tension that will keep you on the end of your seat. It's just a shame it kind of pisses it all away during the third act. One day, they find on his bookshelf a children's book called Mr. Babadook. And while reading it to him, the mother is very disturbed by the book's contents and decides to put it away. Shortly afterwards, her son starts claiming that he's being stalked by the Babadook, and soon strange goings-on start to happen around the house. As stress begins to mount on the mother, she begins to notice the Babadook itself. The acting in this movie is really good. Even with the child actors, they all give pretty good performances, though the son can be a little annoying, but that has less to do with him being a child actor and more to do with the fact he's a kid, and kids are annoying. And the drama that unfolds around the mother is actually really compelling, with her unraveling sanity as they're being stalked by the Babadook being a metaphor for the continuing stress that her troubled son is putting on her, as well as her inability to get over the death of her husband. Now, as I said before, this movie can be pretty scary, and it is. While it never really goes into, say, Conjuring territory, it does evoke strong comparisons to movies like that, and the Amityville Horror. The original! However, though, there is a strong sense they were working with a low budget. A lot of the scares do feel really fake, I gotta confess, but they do the job well. And the Babadook itself is actually pretty frightening. But as I said before though, during the third act it kind of pisses all the goodwill away. While the Babadook is scary, it's one of those things that's only scary the less you see of it. And at first we're only really given glimpses of it from the mother's perspective, with it being a silhouetted figure in a trench coat and a top hat. And then we get a good look at it and it just looks ridiculous. It's something out of an Expressionist movie. In fact, there's even a sequence where the mother is watching some old TV and the Babadook appears in the footage, and it looks right at home in that old footage, but when it appears in real life and in more modern television footage, it just looks out of place and, again, silly. And then there's the ending sequence where they fight the Babadook. It really just doesn't make any sense. It's really confusing. Like, why did the Babadook just retreat into their basement, and why are they feeding it as it lives there? Oh, sorry, spoiler warning. Worse yet is the sound design. The sound effects in this movie are just really weak and muffled. The worst being the Babadook. I mean, at first when it's just making these weird knocking noises and just going Babadook, Dook, Dook. It's actually scary in a cheesy sort of way, but when it's making these really fake stock monster sound effects we've all heard before, it stops being scary and it's hard to take seriously, even when it possesses the mother. Overall, The Babadook is a pretty good horror movie that will satiate people looking for a good horror fix. But if you're a die-hard horror fan or a horror aficionado, it's gonna leave you wanting something better.